Hi lovely people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nyayenga Peace. I like to call myself Coach. Today I thought of doing something fun and very basic. For most of you who know me, you know I come from Uganda and now I reside in Denmark. I've been here for quite some time with a permanent residence now. I just thought, why not? Let's talk about the difference between Denmark and Uganda, because sometimes people ask me a lot about that. So let's start with the very basic of it. Shall we? Come with me. Yeah, I thought about the weather. The weather is something that makes such a big difference. In Uganda, we mostly have the dry and wet season. While in Denmark, we have 4 different seasons. That is the winter, the autumn, the spring, and the summer. And then also, the other difference is the daylight saving. So during summer to winter, the clock is changed. I don't remember exactly which one is which, because I think it is from summer to winter we gain an hour, and then from winter to summer the clock is adjusted backwards where you lose an hour. Yeah. And then the other thing, another difference between Denmark and Uganda is the education system. In Uganda we use the banking system of education, while in Denmark we use the problem-posing system of education, which is a more practical system of education. I will discuss that. Maybe I'll make another video that discusses into depth what a banking system of education is and what a problem-posing system of education is, what are the advantages, the pros and cons and all that. I will make another video about that. And then the other thing, actually, I have been thinking so deeply about. You know, of recent, few years ago, I've had some experiences that have made me think deeply so much about the education system, both back home in Uganda and the one in Denmark. In Denmark, the education not education system. In Denmark, the health care system is more or less free. If I fall sick, if my child falls sick, most of the time, if it is something very serious, I will call the doctor, I will get consultation, and if it is something beyond that, I can be referred to the hospital. Now I will give an example of me. Last year, was it last year? Yes, I had my last born and he was premature. So before that, I had spent over a month in the hospital, and then when my son came, he was premature. He had to be put in the prenatal care. He had to be put on oxygen, fed through the tubes and all those things. And while I was in the hospital, I get free food, I get clothes for me and the baby, diapers, everything, pads, everything is provided for free. So at the end of my stay, over 2 months stay in the hospital, I just walk out with my baby, no bills to pay and nothing. No worries. But in Uganda, most times when mothers go through that, they come out with such a big bill that drags them backwards. Sometimes they have to take a loan, they have to borrow from friends and all that. So that is one of the biggest differences in the health system. And actually also right now with all this corona going on, I just feel for my country, I feel for my brothers and sisters back home, I feel for you, my friends, because I've had stories of when people fall sick from COVID, they are admitted, and by the time they come out, the bill is so huge. And then also I have had instances of when people have had COVID, they've been admitted, especially in these private hospitals in Uganda, and at the end of the day, maybe the person dies, but still the hospital is asking for 70 million Ugandan shillings, 100 million Ugandan shillings, so they could release the body. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? You know, I just feel like that is so unfair. While in Denmark, to start with, there's so many testing centers. You just, any day, anytime you walk into the testing center, you get a quick test. The results come within 15 to 30 minutes on your mobile. It is free, you know. And then right now, there's vaccination going on for all of us. It is free. All these things are free. So I am thankful. I'm thankful for that, you know. And then the other thing, another difference between Denmark and Uganda is the social life, you know. Here in Uganda, I really miss the social life, you know, hanging out with friends. You can just go knock at the neighbor's door and say hello and hang out and have a cup of tea without making an appointment, you know. But here in Denmark, everything is on plan. Everything is on appointment, you know. You cannot just walk up, even to your relatives. You can't just walk in there, you know. You must make an appointment before you go to see them. So everything has to be put in plan that on such and such a day, you're coming to visit us and all that, you know. You know, so sometimes I really miss the social system back home. Here people are all the time busy up and down. You barely know your neighbor, you know. So, and then the other thing is, another difference is the, I just talked about the social life. Now I'm going to talk about the social system, you know. Back home in Uganda, our social system is not that developed like in Denmark. So because of that, we have to take care of each other. For example, in the family, if you're the one who has a good job, you have the money, then you have to support your mother, your father, have support your siblings and all that. But in Denmark here, they have such a well-developed social system that individuals do not feel a responsibility that, oh, I must take care of my father, I must take care of my sister and all that. No, of course they'll take care of their children, but most times that responsibility is put on the state. You know, if somebody doesn't have a place to stay and all that, the state will take care of that. So that is another big difference. And because of that difference, when I first came to Denmark, people would ask me, why are you sending money back home for your mother? Doesn't she work? Why are you sending money for school fees for your siblings? Don't they do this and that? They couldn't understand it, that these are two different systems and we are not, yeah. So, and another big difference, back home, when somebody is an adult, now this is in regards to children, the children never call you by name. Like, out of respect, they have to call you sir, madam, you know. Children can never call you by names. But in Denmark, it is okay. Sometimes my children call me by, they say, peace, you know. That will never happen in Uganda, where a child calls the mother by the real name. So here it's very okay. Even sometimes my children, they call their grandfather by his name. It's very normal. It's nothing to be offended about. And another thing also, another big difference for me, this could also be very subjective. I just think that in Uganda, people have their noses so much in other people's businesses. People mind so much what somebody is doing, how the person is dressing and all that, you know. But in Denmark, if you want to walk naked on the street, it's up to you. Nobody is going to turn and look and say, oh, look at that person and blah, blah, blah. No. No, that is your own business. Just do your thing. Do your thing as long as you're happy, you know. And then the other thing also is the tax system in Uganda versus the tax system in Denmark. In Denmark, the tax system is very efficient. You know, everybody must pay the tax. The taxes are high. It's very efficient. Everybody has to pay. There's no way you can dodge paying the taxes, you know. Everybody must pay the taxes, and then you get value for your taxes, like the free education system, the free health care. Of course, the dental care, you have to pay that for yourself if you from when you're 18 and above. But for children until 18 years, it is free. But in Uganda, the taxes, they're there. I don't know how high they are, but do people get value for their money, value for their taxes? I am not sure. You can see how the health care system is right now. You can see how the whole COVID situation has destabilized the country. So, and the other thing also is equality at work. My God. In Denmark, the CEO, the top boss, and the person at the lower level, is it the cleaner and all that? When you walk in, you would never know that this is the boss or this is the cleaner. Everybody interacts on the same level. There's nothing like, oh, this is boss, this is sir, and all that like in Uganda. In Uganda, when you enter an office, you will know this is the CEO, this is the manager, or this is so and so, and you know this is the cleaner. Just the way they interact. People in Uganda, in public offices and all that, they want to feel big, you know? You walk in big, they tell you sit there, you know? There is that, I just don't understand. Every time I come home, I am reminded, I am surprised and all those things, because now I've been living in Denmark for so long. Everybody is so humble, you know? You don't have to hustle to get services, you know? People are just humble. Everybody, you treat each other at the same level. And another thing, another big difference, umeme, electricity, my people. Let's talk about electricity. In Denmark, there is no load shedding. You never hear about load shedding, you know. In fact, every time my children come home, they get shocked. In Denmark, no load shedding. But in Uganda, there is so much load shedding. It's you know, it's not reliable. The electricity is not reliable. You know, one moment the electricity is on, the next minute it has gone. Hey, what happened? You don't know. Umeme. Wake up, do better. And also water. Just like electricity, also water. Sometimes in Uganda, also water is very unpredictable. Here, water never goes. It is there, constant, all the time. You don't have to worry. But sometimes I've seen, sometime last year, I think there was this guy on Facebook who was protesting, where he carried his jerrycans and went to the offices of those water guys and tried to ask them to get water, because he was just angry. There was no water in his area for so long. So water is always there in Denmark. And then the other also big difference, in Denmark, there is no work that is underlocked. Work is work, you know. And in Denmark, you also have a minimum wage. So anybody, whatever kind of work you're doing, at least it's a minimum wage where you can survive on. You'll be able to pay your rent, even you'll be able to buy a car and all these other things. It's minimum wage, and this is something you can live on comfortably. While in Uganda, there's so many jobs that are underlooked, and pay is not good. So many people are struggling in Uganda, especially if you do the lower jobs like cleaning and all that. It's not easy. It's not easy. I pray for my country every day. I hope things get better one day. And another thing, another big difference, yes, another big difference is security. Is security in this country, Denmark. I have lived here. I have never seen a policeman hold a gun. I have never seen a policeman apply force. But in my country, there's been so much insecurity. They've been killing so many people on the streets. Sometimes they've been executing people. The policemen have been very rough handling the ordinary Ugandans. It's a sad situation. I don't even know how to talk about it, because it literally makes me want to cry. Cry for my beloved country. I hope one day things get better. Yeah, and another thing is in Denmark, another big difference is the culture of trust. In Denmark, we have, in Denmark there's a culture of trust. People have built this culture of trust within, between each other, in that if I say I'm gonna do this, I will do that, you know. So people don't doubt each other, and people keep their words. Their words. And then another example I want to give in regards to culture of trust. For example, sometimes on the countryside, on the roadside, people just leave things for sale and all that, you know, and sometimes even clothes and different things, and they trust that the buyer will come, take whatever they want, and leave the money, you know. And then also many times I have forgotten my phone, I have forgotten my money pass with the money and all my documents, maybe on the train, on the bus, or somewhere. But I can tell you, your phone or whatever you've forgotten will be delivered back to you, or you will go and find it, and somebody will deliver it to the nearest police station and all that, and whatever belongings that are in it will be intact. Nobody takes it. But on the other hand, do we have a culture of trust in Uganda? My people, can I hear what do you have to say about the culture of trust in Uganda? Can you tell me, if I forgot my phone somewhere, maybe when sitting on the restaurant, what will happen? If I forgot my money pass, what will happen? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to paint a bad picture of my country, but my people, tell me, what would happen if I forgot some of my things like that? Will they be delivered to me? Will I get them back? Tell the truth. You know. And then yes, another difference also is that between Denmark and Uganda, in Denmark, most people are law abiding. You know, you just tell people these are the rules and the regulations, and people just follow. For example, I could be walking on the road and I reach a traffic lights, you know. The traffic lights, there could be no cars on the road, both sides, the road is clear, but as long as it doesn't show green for me to go, most people will not go. People abide, they will wait for the lights to turn green before they go. But in Uganda, are people law abiding in that way? No. If you're the traffic lights, no. If there are no cars, people will just cross, you know. Actually, that's even not only for cars, you mean for people on foot, but even cars in Uganda, people don't follow the traffic rules, you know. Also, the other thing that has helped here in Denmark during this COVID period is also because people follow rules and regulations, people are law abiding, people listen to what they are told to do, you know, and that has really helped curb this epidemic, you know. When they told us you have to wear face masks, everyone is doing that. And sometimes if you forget, you enter the bus like this, they tell you, hey, you're not wearing, you need to wear it, you know. Somebody reminds you, you need to sanitize, you need to do this. We have been following all these rules and regulations. On the other hand, in Uganda, I am not so sure, because I've been hearing so many stories about conspiracy theories, and people are not believing that COVID is real. They think the government is using it to manipulate people and control people and keep people in poverty and all those. I hear so many stories. Correct me, my people. This can also be maybe subjective. Help me. Yeah, but I see that's also another big difference between Denmark and Uganda. And then the other difference also is at the fuel stations. My people, in Uganda, you just drive your car and then the pump attendant comes and puts fuel for you. In Denmark, you will do it yourself. Those services don't exist. Do it yourself, you know. Actually, that also reminds me, the other big difference also between Denmark and Uganda. In Denmark, they have a culture of do it yourself. Most people, you'll find even a rich person who has money, but there are these minor renovations around the house. They're doing it themselves. They are painting their house themselves and all that. But in Uganda, any small thing, people prefer to hire somebody to come and do it. Actually, the last time I came home, and my mom, she bought paint and all the things for the gate, and the doors, you know, and they called somebody to do it. And then I was looking, I was like, ha, if this was in Denmark, we would be doing it ourselves. We have to paint ourselves. Yeah. And then also, yeah, the same culture of do it yourself. In most supermarkets here in Denmark, you have this self-service where you can go in, pick stuff, and then you just need to have an app on your phone. So you use your phone, you go, you scan the items yourself, use the app, pay, and go out without having to use somebody from the supermarket, the supermarket attendant. Yeah. And then the other thing is, yeah, another thing is most homes in Denmark, they don't have gates. Yeah, most homes in Denmark don't have gates, but in Uganda, there are very many homes actually that have gates, have wall fences and all those things, and I can totally understand it's for security reasons, to keep the thieves away. In Uganda, in Denmark, they don't need that so much. And then also the other big difference is in Denmark, they have the culture of tolerance, high value, tolerance to the the other thing is, in Denmark, people eat a lot of meat. They have a lot of, they do a lot of farming on high scale. So most people, we eat too much meat. And whereas at home, people eat a lot of, there's not so much meat like it is here. People have a lot of dairy products here in Denmark as compared to Uganda. But of course, I'm not saying in Uganda these things are not there. These things are there, but in Denmark, it's on such a high magnitude, you know. And also, when it comes to pigs, pigs are 3 times the population of Denmark. For example, the population of Denmark is around 6 million, maybe a little over 6 million. And then the pigs is like 3 times that. Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this small episode of the difference between Denmark and Uganda, and if there's some things that I've left out, so feel free to leave it down in the description box. Thank you so much, and remember to subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Mwah. See you another time.